My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, welcome back. Hey, have you ever wondered how you can leverage your local real estate investment association or real estate club to move your real estate investing business forward? Well, if you have, you're in for a treat today because our special guest is Todd Hutcheson. Todd is a very accomplished, very experienced real estate investor and entrepreneur. He's zooming in all the way from beautiful Orlando, Florida. We're filming this in January of 2025. He says they might be getting some snow in a few days. That is mind-boggling. But anyhow, Todd, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah. So, Todd, you've done a lot with real estate, a lot of wholesaling. You got the best URL I've seen in a long time, which is ibuyhomes.com. Give us a little snapshot. What does real estate investing look like? What's your primary focus as of the beginning of 2025?
My primary focus is wholesaling. That's what I've always done since the very beginning. That's all I've ever done. I've done everything, but it's been always my primary focus was wholesaling and building a big list. And I teach a little bit of real estate investing for our local real estate association and across Florida, but predominantly it's just wholesaling.
All right. So for everybody here is probably familiar with that, but if somebody's kind of coming in new, just give us a big snapshot overview. What does wholesaling mean exactly?
To me, what it means is writing a contract on a property that's undervalued. And so buying low and selling low. So you take your contract and you do in Florida anyway, is an assignment of contract. So it might be, I got a property for $100,000. I'm going to sell it for $5,000. My buyer is going to bring $105,000 plus closing costs to the table. I get the $5,000. The seller gets the $100,000. That's the most simplistic form of wholesaling in my mind, anyway.
All right, and people are going to ask, well, why don't you keep them and fix them up and flip them, or rent them out, or hold on to them yourself? What is your thoughts about that?
Mostly, it's my, I guess, disposition. I tried being a landlord and I stunk at it.
I hear you.
And so that's the big reason I don't become a landlord. The reason I don't fix is I'm not handy at all. I couldn't change a toilet to save my life. And this just suits my personality.
It sounds like we're real estate brothers from different mothers. Same boat.
Yeah, it just fits my personality, basically. I like to get in and get out and go on.
I hear you. I understand. And just to get an idea, what kind of volume of transactions are you typically doing, let's say, a year?
It's tapered off dramatically. I sold ibuyhomes.com a few years ago, and the site doesn't get quite as many visitors as it used to when I owned it full time. I kept the leads to Florida, but sold the whole site. So I used to do a decent amount, and now I'm doing probably 5, 6 a year, sometimes a little bit more than that, but not as anywhere near like I used to.
Okay. And what would you say is, well, you sold the site. That's part of the challenge. What do you think is the cause of that? Is it the economy, the real estate market, or just the new guys that bought the site aren't doing as good of a job?
99% of it is the site, or no, let's say 90%. The 10%, I think, is the fact that I'm in the Orlando market and the hedge funds just pay way too much money. They pay stupid prices here in Orlando, and it's harder to compete with them than if you were in, Ocala or some other minor market other than Orlando. So that's the big reason. The hedge funds, and then I used to be ranked number 2 or 3 in Google for sell your home fast, and so I'm not ranked as much. So that's the biggest reason, and then the hedge funds is secondary.
All right. So, yeah. Okay. Well, let's switch gears a little bit here, Todd. Let's talk a little bit about our main topic here today, which is how you can leverage and profit from your local real estate investment association, real estate investment club. So tell me a little bit about what you mean by that.
I think people, not I think, I know, a lot of people, as they progress in their investing, they don't think they need their real estate association any longer. And I have just never felt that way.
Hmm.
If you get what you put into it, and to me, it's been everything for me. I started in the business because I went to a REIA meeting and fell in love with it. And I've done everything I can to try to give back to that association because it's what made me excel, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
It's the relationship building, it's finding new investors, it's finding partners, it's finding money, it's all the things that we need as a well-rounded real estate investor you can find at your local real estate investing association.
All right. Well, you got started back in 2001. So for somebody who's just kind of newer to the whole game or has been out of it for a while or just hasn't really connected with a local club or REIA, what steps do you recommend that they take to get started and how can they really leverage that experience?
So for me personally, I would say get a business card that you use at a REIA. I literally had four different business cards when I first started. One when I went to seminars, one for my REIA, one to give sellers, and one to give to buyers.
Yeah.
So I want to show at my REIA a card that shows I do wholesaling, that I partner, that you can, more importantly, you can send your deal to my list for a very fractional cost. And that's the way I think you can profit the most is people will call you with one, either deals they don't know how to do, or two, because they have a good deal, but they don't have a big list. And you can provide that functionality for really cheaply, inexpensive to them and to you. And it's a great way to get leads.
Very, very smart. I think you're the first guy I've heard mention that, Todd. So unwrap that a little bit for me. How do you promote somebody else's deal to your list so that it's a win-win-win for everybody?
My list is probably for Orlando about 4,200 cash buyers.
Mhm.
So I can send it by email, I can text, I can call my best buyers. If it's a slam dunk, I'm going to call my two or three best buyers, and one of them's going to say yes. If it's mediocre, I'll probably text a few and then email. So it just depends on how good of the deal is, I think. But what ends up happening is a lot of times if somebody calls, I'll say, well, I'll send it out free of charge, but I'll buy it as well, or I'll partner with you. So remember, a lot of these people are newer, so they
Right.
don't have the confidence that I have, or they don't have the list. It's just a great way to get more deals that you wouldn't be exposed to because they're not on the MLS. They're not on any big time wholesalers email list because they don't know those people yet.
Very cool. So what kind of split do you usually do with a newer investor like that goes out there, finds a deal, gets it under contract, and they want to promote it to your list?
So I do two different things. If they want me to be involved, it's 60 for me and 40 for them
Yeah, so
percent.
that, and people go, whoa, that's pretty steep. But if you think about it, I mean, my goodness, if you're brand new to wholesaling, you've never done one of these before, if you could have somebody who's done hundreds and hundreds of them over the years put all the paperwork together for you and help you through the whole process, why wouldn't you? Right. So
Yeah.
that's cheap education there. Okay, so that's
If
the first
it's
way. Yeah.
if the other way, if they don't have it under contract and they want me to negotiate it, excuse me, if they have it under contract and don't need me to negotiate it, then it's the reverse. It's 40% for me and 60% for them.
Oh, I see. So that the first one is if you're going in and talking to the seller and getting the deal
If
wrapped
I'm
up. So
writing the, if
they
I'm
found a hot lead, but they haven't actually closed on the deal yet.
correct, they're
Got it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If they got the paperwork and you're just promoting it to your list, then it's 60-40 and they're in their benefit.
correct.
That makes a lot of sense. No, that's
Yeah.
great. And these days, what are you seeing, Todd, typically in your market? I know wholesale fees, you know, span the gamut sort of thing. It depends on what kind of a good deal they get. But what do you say is the average wholesale fee you and the people, other wholesalers in the area are making on average per property?
If you take out novations and take out short sales, I'd say $3,000 to $9,000 is a typical fee in Orlando and Central Florida area.
So 5 or 6
Because
grand kind of thing, typically.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
we can't get these home runs like you can. Not you can't, but it's more difficult to get a home run like in Buffalo or Cleveland because everybody doesn't want to own in Buffalo or Cleveland, but there's people in Canada and Brazil and all over the world literally that want to buy in Orlando.
Yeah. Yeah. For
So
sure.
our fees are just not quite as high.
The Disney factor.
Correct. Disney and Universal and SeaWorld.
Plus, I mean,
the
my
weather.
goodness, years ago at least, it seemed like every real estate guru you ever heard of came from Florida. Like we're the Ron LeGrands of the world and the Ted
Yep.
Thomases of the world. Everybody seems to be in Florida, so there's lots of
More
competition.
importantly, every single one of them comes to Orlando and does a pitch fest.
Yeah.
And so you've got all these brand new investors that are paying too much because they're a motivated buyer and they want to get their first deal. So, yeah, Orlando, if you can survive in Orlando, you can survive anywhere. The other thing that we have that a lot of people don't have from a similar sized town, Orlando is really new. We do not have the houses on their second and third lifestyle change where, from the 1800s, early 1900s, where we just don't have houses that need full rehabs like a lot of places our same size do, because Orlando, there was nothing here when I was a kid. There was literally nothing. It was orange groves. And now it's just house after house after house. But most of them were built in the 80s or 90s. So, they're just now
Comparatively
becoming
newer stock
compared to Tampa or Miami or Jacksonville. We just don't have as many old houses.
So, Todd, we're getting back to the whole leveraging a REIA. Your first big piece of advice was have different business cards for different purposes. Have a specific card for going to your REIA. What other tips do you have for people getting and wanting to get more involved with their local REIAs?
If it's a nonprofit REIA, actually always volunteer. Every REIA I know that I've spoken to that's a not-for-profit, they need volunteers in a big way for check-in, for seminars, for picking stuff up and taking it to the location where they're having the event, for setting up chairs, whatever it is. It allows you to meet people and for people to see that you're involved. And if they see your face for 12 months in a row, they're likely to
know, like, and trust you, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So secondarily to that, once you volunteered for at least a short period of time, every nonprofit that I know of anyway has a board of directors. Once you become on the board of directors, if you run for that position, then you become an authority. And people bring you deals again because you're the authority, because like I've seen some REIAs where they wear red shirts or they wear something different. So if you're strolling around the meeting and they mention from the front of the room that if you have a question, ask somebody in the red shirt, you become the expert. No question, you become the expert. And that leads me to my next tip. Try to become an expert at anything. If you become the go-to person at your REIA, you're going to make a lot of money. For instance, here in Florida, we have a guy named Rob Arnold. He buys sinkhole homes. He goes to every
sinkhole homes. Wow. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you have a sinkhole lead, who are you going to call?
That guy.
You're going to call Rob Arnold. Because
how many sinkholes do you have, for crying out loud? There must be a lot.
A decent amount, believe it or not.
I do believe it.
Because we're limestone. So it deteriorates with water over time. And there's certain pockets, Central Florida having to be the biggest one where most of the sinkholes are. So it's a very, interesting thing. But some of the other ones are not so scary. You could be the short sale expert. You could be the fire damage expert. You could be the wholesaling.
This brings a question. Like, do I have to have, like you have there, Todd, hundreds of deals and transactions under my belt to qualify as an expert, or not necessarily?
You have to name yourself the expert. That's it. I had a friend, he did 2 deals in this particular area, And then he became an expert, and next thing you know, he was speaking nationally after like 3 deals. Now, he was really smart. He
Yeah.
was a lawyer, and so he was more skilled at speaking than, the average Joe, let's say. But
Yeah.
yeah, you need to have a basic competency, but you do not have to have 100%, I don't think.
No, I
It's
agree.
just you have to know more than the person that you're helping.
Well put. All right. So get that expertise. Anything else? Because I know you've been part of your local REIA for, well, since you started 25 years ago. So any other last tips as we're wrapping up here, Todd?
Well, I would say start an advanced investor group. I started one. We have a lunch, and
Well, start
there's
your own group for advanced investors.
correct,
Got it.
correct,
Okay.
because you don't. It allows you to um, socialize, and I created as my basically my sales meeting, because this can be a lonely business.
Yeah.
Let's be real about it. And if you start an advanced investor luncheon, people are going to bring deals into that meeting as well, and
So,
it's
so
going to.
basically, let me see if I understand you here, Todd. So your local REIA has everybody and anybody, and you're involved in that. But then you're also inviting some of the movers and shakers who are actually doing stuff who are more advanced from that group to come out to a luncheon that you host. Am I getting that right?
It's put on by the REIA,
Okay.
but they have to apply to get in. So you get their phone number, you get their email address, you get how many deals they've done. You can seriously figure out if this person is good or not. And people come and go. There's people that are in our REIA that don't go to any other meeting except for this advanced investor luncheon.
Hmm.
So I would highly recommend, if you don't have an advanced investor luncheon or some type of meetup, that you go to the creators of the REIA or the owners, if it's a for profit, and ask them if you can start a
Okay. So the luncheon, how does this work? Because you got a bunch of guys and gals who are at a higher level than most of the rest of the group. They're all pretty active. The negative Nelly in me is going, well, isn't there going to be a lot of conflict and competition there? How do you get this cooperation? How do you guys work together? How does that all come together?
not at all.
Nice.
At least in Florida, I can't speak for other RIAs, but we're just so open. And that's what I love about RIA is there's always somebody that'll help you. And we're lucky because our RIA has a code of ethics, and we kick people out if they screw anybody.
Good. Yeah, that's
And
great.
we've kicked out probably that I know of at least 6 people that have done something wrong. So
Mhm.
no, it's not adversarial whatsoever. It's
Very
people
cooperative.
bringing. It's very very cooperative, and
Nice.
people bringing their hard cases, and you get different opinions.
It's like a little mini mastermind almost.
It's 100% a mini mastermind, and it's good for the advanced people, and it's good for the people that have just become advanced, that are just
Okay.
starting out. We limit it to, at minimum, you've done at least 5 deals, because you don't want them coming in and asking really stupid questions
Right. Yeah.
because that's what makes advanced investors leave, is because they don't feel like they're getting as much out of it as the new person. And that's probably true, except for the advanced investor.
Got it. Very, very smart. So is this a paid thing or who's forking out for the luncheon?
No, we meet in a restaurant, and they pay
Okay.
their own. They pay their
Good.
own way.
Yeah, that's really smart.
So we meet at it doesn't cost the RIA anything. All they have to do is promote it.
Right. And you as for example, as the person leading the luncheon, again, that kind of puts you in that position of leadership and authority as well.
Yes.
The
And,
expert.
and people, we actually have a thing where if you're not going to be there, you can send a question to the group, and the group will talk about it. And then the moderator, if that's me or if that's the other person, they put the answers to the question and email it back out to everybody.
Oh, very nice.
So it can be very, very helpful. And
Yeah.
it's people have, saved a lot of deals because they went and figured out what other people would do in this exact situation. Or they sell deals or they get money.
Yeah.
We have,
Yeah.
3 hard money lenders that come to that meeting
And how
that
often do you do it? Once a month or how often?
once a week, every
Once a week. It's a
Thursday.
weekly lunch.
It's a weekly
Nice.
luncheon.
Very cool. Very, very good. Yeah.
but it would work with once a month as well.
Yeah. Well, it works better with once a week for sure if you can swing it.
Yeah,
You know, and how many people are usually coming to the luncheon, Todd?
right around 20.
Nice. That is very nice. That's good.
But it's
How many
it's
people are there in your whole REIA?
1,300.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. You guys have got a big club. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
we're one of the largest
Yeah.
in the country, certainly the largest in Florida. And we have our own education facility where that holds about 85 where we teach classes. And then we meet at a big auditorium where there's usually right around 300 people, in between 200 and 300. At the height of everything before 2008, it was, probably 400 people. But, and Zoom's changed things since the pandemic.
Yeah, of course. But no,
Um,
that's fantastic. Todd, time flies when we're having fun. If people want to reach out and connect with you, what should they do?
Todd, Todd, at ibuyhomes.com is the best way to reach me. If you have a deal in Orlando or anywhere in Central Florida, love to help you and look forward to seeing you sometime soon.
Well, Todd, thank you very much for sharing your insights. Really smart ideas on how to leverage your local REIA. So I really appreciate you sharing those.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you on the next one. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.